that the largest number of people can create the widest variety of works in the widest variety of vernaculars in media to reach the largest and most diverse audience possible. How's that?
That's pretty darn good. Yeah, you can clap. You can clap.
I guess that we rise to the challenge, especially creatively. And more is not necessarily better. I'd like to see us. I find that, especially in comics, there's just a tremendous failure of creativity. There just aren't enough new things, and it's kind of from top to bottom. I think that we've failed in management and creative and pretty much every other way. So I'd like to see that turn around. I'd like to see the kind of creative revolution that there was, say, in '61 when Marvel Comics started out, or at other times when new things really just sort of swept the nation.
So I want what Cory wants, with flying cars. And well, food in California as long as it's tasty. Affordable flying cars. Well, you can't have everything. You can have flying cars, you can have affordable cars, you can have the only thing that I would add to what Cory said is one of the things that you're seeing is discovery is something we talk a lot about. It is really hard to find stuff, which is one of the reasons I read Boing Boing, because Cory does all the work for me and then posts things, and I just
they really do. Yeah.
I know, and go buy like flickering fireplace things from the floor up there. But you know, one of the hardest things to do in any of this stuff is now once you have this proliferation, which is awesome, it's really hard, except for the top of the top of the top, to find really good stuff. And I mean, the TV industry in particular, if you look at video on demand, if you ever go to the on-demand channels, it's like a night. They're like, look at the folders. I'm like, folders? You know, like, what the hell are we talking about?
This is supposed to be TV.
I know, it's supposed to be TV. And I was actually at Comcast owns NBC Universal, so they own us, and I was down at Comcast headquarters, and they were showing me the future of video on demand and IPGs, which are EPGs, which are electronic programming guides. And I was like, oh my God, like Discovery was freaking amazing. You could like have friends telling you to go look, for this stuff, and there weren't folders and stuff like that. And I was like, how soon can we get that? And they're like, well, it takes a while to build this stuff and roll it out. I'm like, give me some kind of ballpark. And he's like, well, how old are you? I'm like, I'm never going to see
How's your health? How's your
Do
cholesterol?
you have any issues medically? But when I saw that, like I saw the future, and I was like, holy shit, I could find stuff I want to see versus like, one of the hugest problems, again, and I go back to TV because I'm a TV guy, is TV is this big indiscriminate fire hose of stuff coming at you across multiple channels. Really hard to find stuff. So in addition to all the cool stuff Cory says, is we also need tools to be able to find what we're interested in.
Yeah, Clay Shirky says there's no such thing as an information overload problem, only filter failures.
Yeah.
Right.
Clay's smart.
So why don't you guys, if you want to start asking questions, please queue up, sit back there so everybody can hear. And I'll tell you sort of one of the great responses I heard to my question that I asked that to somebody once was from Douglas Rushkoff, right? Doug's a media theorist. And I asked Doug, I'm like, Doug, what is your request to the future? And he looked at me and he said, don't forget the humans. Which I actually thought was quite nice. He's like, don't forget the humans. We still have a lot to contribute. Wow, that is a long line. All right, so try to keep it short as you can because we got about 15 minutes and then they literally kick us out of here. So, thanks, man. What's up?
Hi, my name is Charles, and one thing I'm looking forward to in the future is the accessibility, because I think that is one thing about entertainment, and it's coming right now. You see accessibility, like you can look at your phone, you can actually get Netflix, or sometimes you can get like NFL games or what have you. What are your aspects in seeing in the future how accessibility is going to be even more like things are going to be even more accessible, or is it going to be less accessible, anything like that?
You'll absolutely see it more accessible. I mean, right now, there's this great screenshot going around of Netflix, and I can't remember what the thing is, but it's like there's like 20 episodes, and like 3 are available to stream now, 3 are available on Blu-ray, 3 are only available on regular TV. It's a complete mess. Accessibility is a complete mess, and a lot of that has to do more with contractual and legal issues because people already pay us for content in certain ways, so they don't want us to distribute it otherwise. But it's getting better. I mean, if you looked at TV 5 years, again, I'm going to use TV, 5 years ago and 5 years now, it's like a sea change, but it's been happening so gradually people don't realize. 5 years from now, it's going to be freaking awesome in terms of accessibility.
Before Napster came along, 80% of the music ever recorded was not available in the stream of commerce. Napster made it all available in 18 months, like something like 100% or close enough to it. And it really did push the record industry to start figuring out how to solve those rights log jams. And it's one of the reasons that there's as much catalog now available.
Yeah, that's our big problem in comics is accessibility. I mean, it's numbers of comics sold these days are just really terrible, and you know, a lot of it's becoming available online. We're at that awkward transition point where nobody's buying the print stuff and everybody's pirating the online stuff, and no one can make money to produce comics. And you said sea change. It's going to take a bit of a sea change for the comic book business, but I think that the future is bright. I think that all of these problems are solvable. Technology will come to our rescue, and I think once the doors are open so that good stuff is more accessible to more people, we win.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks, man.
Hi, you may be sort of tired of being asked this question, but in terms of, you have shows like Eureka, Stargate Universe Atlantis, Caprica, and advertisers still are going by Nielsen as opposed to what people are watching through the cable boxes, so what are the conversations you're having with advertisers like, look, we are reaching that audience, you can't keep looking at Nielsen?
Let me try to do that succinctly. So Nielsen is a big controversy online because Nielsen uses a system called sampling, where they look at what 20,000 people in the US watch, and then they extrapolate from that what about 100 million people are watching. Sampling has very valid, it works, science of statistics. It also has shortcomings, and by the way, any system will. The big thing that everyone has to realize about Nielsen's is Nielsen ratings were not put in place to tell me how many people are watching a show. They were put in place to tell the advertisers how many people are watching the ads, because the advertisers wanted a third party, independent third party, to tell them how they were doing, right? And they don't believe us, right? Hey, 100 million people are watching Eureka, pay me for 100 million people. And well, only about 2 million people are watching it. So the issue is a couple things, right? One, there's a technological issue where everyone's like, well, you could just see what people are watching on their TV anytime. Well, you really can't. First of all, there's privacy issues. Second of all, you have no technology that tells you if anyone's watching their TV. They're even in the room. How many people are watching TV?
Well, there's the Connect.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Well, that's actually
So there's a lot of issues around that, and so right now Nielsen is still the best acceptable solution, and by acceptable I mean the best agreed upon. It's very hard to get an entire multi-billion-dollar industry to agree on a new standard.
Nobody ever got fired for buying Nielsen, right?
Yeah, and the other thing is Nielsen's, and people sort of act like Nielsen's exist in a vacuum. Nielsen ratings, if you look at shows that stream the most online, by and large, they'll be the shows with the highest rating. You get some shifts because people like to watch different kinds of shows online and on air. DVD sales, very much mirror that. And it works, right? Like we bought, as we were talking about earlier, Sci-Fi can buy any kind of advertising we want for our shows. We can go buy online, we can go buy in print, we can go buy out of home, which are billboards, and we can go buy TV. And by and large, we would still put all of our marketing dollars into TV because we see the biggest return in terms of what we get out of it. Nielsen's aren't going away. Nielsen's are rapidly evolving, and you might see a competitor come up. It's very difficult to compete just because of the way the thing works. But A, Nielsen's aren't as bad as everyone says they are, and B, the alternatives are not good right now, but they could.
But they're getting there, and that's one of the things that sort of I do in sort of looking out is when I look at the financial pages and you look at who's buying who and who's investing in what, there's a lot of investment going on in precisely the technology that you're talking about. So I think you will see more of it, but it's a pretty steep curve right now to actually get there. But it is happening. There's a lot of money moving to that area.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's a great question. I never get tired of it.